This is your radio broadcast speaking. We have news on the siege of Leningrad. Nazi Germany have created a blockade around Leningrad. The siege of Leningrad is the main objective of the German invasion of the Soviet Union. Hitler wants Leningrad at any cost. He saw the significance of it, and he saw that it would weaken significantly the Soviet Union. Hitler wants the city razed to the ground. It's July 10th, 1941. The Nazis have no trouble fighting against the Soviet Union at the Western Front. We have now managed to push Soviet troops out of the Baltic states, forcing them into defensive operations to save Leningrad from being surrounded. The Nazi attacks forced Soviets to retreat into new defensive positions. It's August 30th. The Germans have reached the Neva River and they started bombing Leningrad.
Now for a commercial break.
Born of the privations of war. In a time of fear. When all seemed lost, came the dawn of a new hope. A new pause. Coming! That refreshes like no other. My friend Fanta. Thank you, Hitler. You weren't all bad.
We are now back to more news of Leningrad.
It's September 8th, 1941. The siege has begun. Finland were the German allies and helped attack Leningrad's northern front, but they stopped attacking once they got the territory they lost back. They did not wish to continue pushing forward. This had slowed down German forces and allowed the Soviets to build defenses. Hitler ordered the city under siege. The Soviet defenders are starving to death. The siege has lasted 872 days, and over 800,000 of our German soldiers had died. Somehow, the Soviets managed to bring in supplies in the winter and strengthen the Soviets. The Germans are preparing an offensive to capture the city without awareness of the Soviets. The Soviets started to attack Germans and managed to repel them out of the city. On January 1943, the Soviets attacked again, and they destroyed our defensive position, and after a week, they managed to get more supplies in and strengthen themselves.
It's 1941. Joseph Stalin saw that Germany put interest in Leningrad, and saw the importance of Leningrad and that it cannot fall into Germans' hands. But on July 10th, the Soviets were pushed out of the Baltic states, forcing us to form defensive operations to save Leningrad. On September 4th, 1941, Leningrad was bombed. The German troops cut the city by land, meaning no supplies could come in or out. German forces started a siege on the Soviet Union. Germans started attacking the northern front with their allies Finland, but Finland no longer helped them, and it gave time for the Soviet Union to build up their defenses. The Soviet Union replaced the commander of the Northern Western Front, Marshal Clement, for letting Germans surround Leningrad. He has been replaced with a more capable general who quickly organized the defense of Leningrad. The Soviet defenders of Leningrad was to build defensive positions, but on October 7th, Germans held Leningrad under siege. Now for another commercial break. We are now back for more news. Germans held Leningrad under siege, making Soviet civilians to starve to death. The Soviets resisted as much as they could. The siege lasted 872 days. More than 1.2 million people of Leningrad has died. Lake Ladoga was frozen in winter, which allowed the Soviets to transport supplies over the ice into the city. Citizens were allowed a daily portion at this point of only 125 grams of bread. The Soviets planned an attempt to break the siege, and Soviets started an offensive operation. When the Soviets attacked, they managed to keep the Germans away from the city. The Soviets attacked German positions on the south bank of Lake Ladoga. After a week, the Soviets destroyed the German positions, and they made routes with Leningrad, allowing more supplies into the city. A year later, the Soviets managed to break the siege, making German troops to retaliate. This battle was really important to World War II because it was the main objective of the German invasion of the Soviet Union.